Today is a new segment for the channel, but one I think is going to really help a lot of us move forward. So what is new? We're going to be reviewing some of the hotels that I've stayed at in the past, and while you can go online and read their reviews, what I want to share with you are the key lessons and takeaways that we can implement on our own businesses to drive even greater guest satisfaction, to delight our guests, and to keep them coming back for more. So let's get started. So I figured we'll start with the #1 hotel in the world as ranked by the world's best 50 hotels, and that's the hotel in Lago di Como, Lake Como, called Hotel Passalacqua. And I might have mispronounced that, I'm not Italian, but I had a wonderful stay there, and I encourage you to go online and read all about it and look at all the photos and videos and so on. But what I want to share with you is what I found so incredibly unique about it, and I've spent a lot of time discussing this with my team at Stomp Capital about what it is that they're doing and why it feels so cool and unique and personal. And let's start with sense of arrival. You've heard me share in prior videos about how important it is in setting the stage, and you want to have a grand presence and a sense of arrival and have people realize like, oh, we've traveled all this distance and we finally made it here. And what the Hotel Passalacqua did in this particular case was they had a sense of non-arrival. What does that mean? Well, Eric and I, we rented a fancy car and we drove from the south of Italy to the north of Italy to Lake Como, and I literally drove right past the Hotel Passalacqua. And for those of you that have driven around the little tiny thin narrow roads in Lago di Como, you know it's all like one way, and what that meant was almost another 45 minutes to an hour as I did the loop around, and I was like angry and upset and frustrated and disheveled and upset, and I just wanted to be there. It'd been a long day and I just wanted to get there, and I didn't understand how we possibly missed it, and I kept driving around, and we finally got back to the area where we thought the entrance was, and we went really slow and waiting and looking and staring, and what we didn't realize was that it's kind of hidden. It's somebody's villa, and so it's a private residence, and it has a wonderful grand gate, but the gate is closed, and you have to stop there and you have to ask for them to open the gate. And so the sense of arrival was actually a sense of non-arrival, because I didn't feel like I was really being pointed there or directed there, and that's part of the charm of the Hotel Passalacqua. This was a massive villa owned by somebody very, very wealthy in a prior life, and they've opened the doors to the public for those that can afford it, and so you're welcomed into this private villa. And that was very different than the other hotels I've stayed in Lago di Como, where it's a traditional hotel. You know you've arrived, there's this big sense of arrival, there's this big entry, you see other cars. Everything was hidden because it's not for the public. It's this exclusive sort of like you're being invited into this private home, and they encourage you to make it your own home. So how else did they do that? And by the way, I haven't read any reviews that mention any of this, but I think this is the really interesting part, is like what makes this different than all the other hotels on Lago di Como, and why is it the #1 hotel, and why are people paying a fortune? In fact, it was so expensive I actually canceled and said we'll go stay somewhere else, and then I decided to actually book because it was so intriguing, and like, why is it worth this much, and why is it getting all these rave reviews? And here's why. Consistent with everything that I'm sharing, like you're in this private villa, it literally felt like you were visiting some wealthy relative's home. You felt like you were in a home as opposed to a hotel. There's all these different sitting rooms and playrooms and game rooms, and then the kitchen is out in the open. So the breakfast is served in this working kitchen, and people are working around just like you might be in your own home, where mom and dad are cooking and you're just gathered around. So you're watching people actually prepare the food in a residential type kitchen setting, and you're serving yourself and you're talking with them and engaging with them, and it's very personal. And that's very different than most traditional hotels, where people are in like not to be seen, and the food comes out and it's served to you. Now you're part of the entire experience. And similarly, the florals. There's this incredible woman who actually held a class to teach people how to do florals, but when she's doing all of the floral arrangements, she's not hidden away down in the basement or out of sight. She's literally doing it in the middle of the house, and people are walking by and asking questions and discussing, and it's interactive. And so a couple of things like that helped me realize that the difference between the Hotel Passalacqua and the other hotels on Lago di Como, and hotels in general, is this is the first experience I've had where I knew it was upscale, I knew it was expensive, I knew it was aspirational, I knew it was beyond my everyday means, but for a few days I felt remarkably special and incredibly drawn towards this life and this lifestyle, and I literally was living it, and yet it wasn't pretentious, and it wasn't filled with labor that was all in your face, although there was a ton of people and they were kind of behind the scenes or interactive, but it didn't feel like they were there just literally to serve me and asking me and interrupting me. The other thing that I would share with you is that they've done a signature piece, which we should all do in all of our businesses, where they have this orange Fiat Jolly, which is a very collectible, very desirable car, really super cute. And if you look on Instagram or if you look at any influencers who've stayed there, and they all have stayed there, that shot of the orange Jolly is in everybody's photo. Like, that is the Instagram moment, and it's remarkable. And they drive it around the property and the premise, and then they park it front and center, and Eric and I took all of our photos there, and it's really, really wonderful, and it's filled with joy and happiness, and it's just playful and so on. And so the juxtaposition of this little playful car and this really wonderful villa with all this incredible attention to detail and beautiful landscaping, and yet you're made to feel like this is your villa for those few days, was absolutely spectacular. Similarly, they have a great kept secret, and I hope it stays this way. Down in the basement, in what used to be the horse carriages, they've created a wellness facility. So there's a great sauna and steam room, little plunge pools and showers and so on. And the really cool thing about it is it's not shared. So you book that space and it's your private space. So Eric and I were down there and it was just ours. For the time that we were there, we didn't see anybody else, right? Clothing optional. And you can just go down there and enjoy yourself just like you would your own home. And so the things that I want to share with you about the Hotel Passalacqua is from the sense of arrival or non-arrival to the way that everything is kept out in the open kitchen, the open florals, and people working all around you, kind of like maintaining this manor and this villa. It just feels very natural and smooth, and you don't feel like you're at a pretentious hotel. You feel like you're in someone's home and you're a welcome guest, and it was just a feeling that I've never had anywhere else, and they've done a really remarkable job. So for those of you who are interested, I definitely recommend the Hotel Passalacqua. Eric and I loved it so much, we'd like to go back every single year, and we're going to do our best to do just that, because it really felt like a wonderful extension of who we are and who we want to be and how we want to live and how we want to relax and the things that we want to do and the way that we enjoy being taken care of and pampered. And kudos to the general manager, who's absolutely remarkable and doing a fabulous job. So in a nutshell, they deserve all of the rave reviews. I'm not surprised that people love it as much as they have. And this is when we're discussing next gen hospitality, a prime example, right? They could have taken this villa and turned it into every other type of villa that's for rent, whether it's short-term rental or every other type of hotel that's fully staffed and feels like a traditional hotel. But what they did is remarkable and unique, and I've not experienced it anywhere else. And that's why I'm making this video, and that's why they're receiving all these critical acclaim and wonderful praise, because they're doing something unique, next gen, pushing the boundaries, and I felt it and I really enjoyed it, and I know you will too. All right, so YouTube. Meet Erica Bossi. She's my fiance, she's the love of my life, and she's extraordinarily intelligent, in particular, emotional intelligence. So she's been the director of our hospitality here at Edge Camp and our other properties, and unbeknownst to her, I'm throwing her like right in the middle of all of this. I just filmed yesterday my thoughts on the #1 hotel in the world, the Passalacqua, and she wasn't here, but she's here now. So why don't you share with the audience, what did you think of that hotel? Was it in fact #1? What made it special? What are your takeaways? And I'm just gonna exit stage right or left.
Or left. So I do believe it is an exceptionally beautiful hotel, a really, really special hotel. It's beautiful interiors, beautiful exteriors. I mean, the landscaping is mind-blowing. The attention to detail is beyond most anywhere I've seen. The warmth, the welcome, the bringing back the house, front of the house, I think is remarkable. Really well done, really thoughtful. It was really fun to walk through the kitchen, you know, get a cup of coffee, see all the hustle and bustle as breakfast is being prepared and all the incredibly beautiful like copper pots. It was really fun because I was able to participate in a floral arrangement class from the florist that grew the flowers at our home and around the gardens, and then brought them to the back of the building, and then invited guests to come and participate and see how she bundles the flowers. And it was, I mean, flowers are my love language, so it was so fun and it was so interactive, and it was nothing like anything I'd ever done. And that was just incredibly standout to me. And it felt very personalized. The hospitality, every single individual that we interacted with, you knew they wanted to be there. They valued their job, they valued their position, they valued the guests that were there and staying on property. It was very authentic. I just felt very, very fortunate to be there. It was exceptional, and I can't wait to go back.
So do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, comment below, where have you received exceptional hospitality and what made it different and unique than everywhere else? In this particular case, it's creating this home for traveling visitors that they can't get anywhere else, and it was absolutely splendid. So highly recommend, 5 stars, well done. Bravo, bravissimo, ciao.